What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Tribe of Runners podcast. I'm your host, Liz Myers, and today I have a crazy ass guest that I have on the podcast. His name is Ryan Keeping, and I was referred to him, I will be 100% honest, I think I'd seen something pop up about, I'm like, this guy's crazy. And then someone was like, dude, you need to get him on the podcast. So I reached out and you were very generous and was like, yes, let's hop on. And I am super excited to dive into all things. But most recently, you have encountered and completed a crazy, crazy task that we'll get into. But before we dive in, thank you, Ryan, for taking the time to be on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. And when you're saying crazy, yeah, Iceland was it was a challenge. It was definitely, I'd say, the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. It was difficult for sure.
Oh, I can imagine. I've seen, like, obviously, I did a deep dive. I went and creeped in all of your social media, which is awesome, by the way. You do a great job relaying a story, being relatable, being open and honest, and just giving it how it is, which is really, really cool to see. But you talked about this race. So tell us a little about what you just recently accomplished and like what made you want to do this.
Yeah. So I went to Iceland and I set the fastest known time for basically running the entire ring road, which does like a lap of the entire country. And yeah, like I ran across Canada a few years ago. I did the entire length of Florida. I'm always doing these crazy challenges, right? So when it comes to Iceland, I don't know. I'd seen it in movies. It looked kind of cool. I've traveled a lot myself. I'd never been there, and I looked up the FKT, and I was like, you know what? I think I can do that. So yeah, there wasn't too much planning. It was probably 3 4 months of just like assembled a crew, asked these people if they'd come with me, my crew members, and luckily we got a documentary crew to come document the whole thing. But yeah, it was. I kind of just wing things and I just go do them. So
I just said, you
we
made that sound so easy. What are you talking about?
yeah, I guess I'm just persuasive. I'll find anyone and I'll get the crew together and I can kind of talk people into, I don't know, coming and helping me on these crazy things. But yeah, it was fun. And I don't know. It's people ask why I did Iceland. I kind of just picked it because I thought it looked cool.
No, that's really, really that I mean, hey, sometimes you just gotta do things because they look and or sound really cool.
Hmm.
For sure.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us about you said it's the ring around Iceland. It's an actual like paved road. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so it's the ring road. So it's pretty well like just goes all the way around the country, and that would kind of be like their one major highway. And I guess when you say major, it's not really like a major highway. It's all pretty well one lane. And we even realized running it, like it definitely is challenging with like the one lane. And some of the times, like I can send some videos for you to maybe put in clips of this, but it was like running on the shoulder, like on a big slant, or pretty well like trail running in the ditch, like. And there's cars coming at you and the big trucks. So it was yeah, it was crazy. It was kind of unlike anything in the weather, and it was just wild being there. Like Iceland's a place where like you got to go. If you haven't been, you got to go. But it is also like the most expensive place ever, and we
Mm.
realized that being there. But yeah, the Ring Road just it does basically a lap of the entire country.
Very cool. And I know you talk in kilometers, so I'm gonna assume majority of or a majority of my listeners are mileage. But so this was 1390 kilometers, right?
Yes, so 800 and I think it was 860 maybe I don't
860
know. I'm not sure the exact
863
conversion, but
miles. Yeah, I had to do all the calculations
yeah.
because I don't know the conversion rate, which
No,
is
no, I don't at all.
incredible. So 863-ish miles. And it took you how long to do this?
So it was 14 days, 13 hours, and 38 minutes.
Yeah, it's so funny. We always know the exact time on situations
Yeah.
like
Well,
this.
and the exact time is like 37 minutes and so many seconds, but I just say 38. Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
13 minute or 38 minutes is good. That's awesome. And
Yeah, yeah.
you mentioned before, like you kind of just wing this, got a few crew members together, and then obviously went out there and knocked it out and did really, really,
Mhm.
really, really good. The original record was like around 16 days, correct?
Yeah, it was 16 days, 10 hours.
Very
And the route I did from the FKT route, the guy, I think my route was like 100 and some kilometers longer because there's tunnels in Iceland. So I'm not sure what the original FKT guy did. Maybe he just winged it and ran through the tunnel, but we had one huge detour. So
cool.
yeah, my route ended up being like, I think it was like 120 kilometers more than the original FKT, which those 120 kilometers, you really feel them at the end.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. But I obviously like creeped up on your social media and I saw a reel, which is something I want to talk about. Because this was, I believe you said it was 2 days before the actual attempt, and you already made the comment that you were going to win this, which I love. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, like
Yeah.
the confidence is key. But where does that like kind of come from, and like how do you, as you know, your own runner and own individual, how did you like feel that confident going into something like this?
Yeah, well, I kind of everything I do, and even when I started running, I think I started running 3.5 years ago or whatever. I kind of believe I can do anything. Now, I'm not saying I can do anything without the training or with, you know what I mean? But if I put enough time into it, I'm always confident in what I can do. And like, I know from previous things I've done, like Canada and Florida and stuff, I knew I was going to be able to set the FKT. Really, the question was, I wanted to break it by multiple days, which I ended up coming close to breaking it by 2 days. So the whole time I went into it, I knew I was going to be capable of setting it. And then really it was just trying to see how much I could set it by. But yeah, like I just believe like in the law of attraction and speaking things into existence, and like the whole time I'm running, I'm constantly visualizing what it's going to feel like at the end. And I know like I had told friends like the exact song I was going to use in the post, and like how it was going to look. And then the whole time when it gets really hard, I'm constantly thinking in my head of like, this is going to be so cool when it's over. It's all going to be worth it. So yeah, I just kind of believe in like almost like willing it into existence. And even like my whole running journey, like when I went to run across Canada, I had pretty much no following. I had like no sponsors. I just took off in a van with my dad, and we're like, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to raise money for charity. And a lot of people probably thought I was nuts. Like, what do you mean you're going to do this? And I remember telling people I'm going to have a following, and this is going to be my job, and I'm going to inspire people. So yeah, I just believe in kind of willing it into existence and almost not being crazy, but being crazy,
Yeah.
and then putting the work in. So
Very
yeah,
cool, very cool. We're all a little bit of crazy, and some of us just like exceed that, which is a good thing. I'm not dissing that by any means.
crazy's good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. And I love the law of attraction. I think, it's so true. And I really do believe the more like you tell yourself the positive, like, I'm going to do this, I can do this, the more,
Hmm.
belief you have in yourself, the more belief, or the more you actually go out there and be able to do it, which is, proof for you 100%. And you had mentioned like you've done a few other bigger efforts, which we'll kind of get into here in a little bit. But did you go into this planning X amount of kilometers or mileage per day, or did you kind of wing that as well?
Yeah. So I had a plan. My goal, well, I kind of had like A and B type goals. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So my A goal was I wanted to try to run 110 kilometers a day,
Okay.
which I did for my first 2 days. And we kind of realized I wasn't going to be able to keep that pace. Where like my first day, it was crazy elevation, the wind was crazy. It felt like I was running in a hurricane, and just different conditions of being there. So then the goal switched from 110 kilometers a day to we were going to do 90K or 16 hours. So if I got to 16 hours and I wasn't at 90 kilometers, I'd keep running just to make sure I hit 90. So I was still on pace to break the record by a few days. And then yeah, the other way, like if I say I got to 16 hours and I was at 98 kilometers or whatever, I would just cut it then. So
Mm,
that was kind of, it kind of shifted on the run to that. But yeah, like I'll kind of always aim for like 100% of my
yeah.
potential as high as I can possibly go. And then yeah, I had like the A and B goal of okay, smash the record by whatever 3 4 days, or we're just gonna still set it with the 90 a day. And that's what we ended up doing. So yeah, we
Yeah.
gave it everything I had.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we always plan for the highest, full potential, and then sometimes we have to readjust. And as long as we can readjust and stay within beating that record, you did the amazing thing, which is beating the record. So that's all that really matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and really like all of this running I do and everything, like there's multiple things, but like I'm trying to motivate and inspire people just to live their life to the fullest, right? Like when you go do this, you're always chasing your 100%. And your 100%, you're never going to hit it. If you hit your 100%, you'd run so hard you passed out and ended up in the ditch, right? But like maybe you hit your 99 or 98. And every time you do something like this, it's like, I went and did this. Well, now next time my 100% is going to be even higher. So, really, in all of this stuff, it's just an expression of like, give your best, try as hard as you possibly can. You're only going to live once. Like, give it everything you have, because I'm sure I'll be 60, 70 years old one day and I'll think, man, I'm proud of that effort, right? So that's kind of the whole point, is just giving it everything you got.
Yeah, I love that. And I think more people need to learn to do that because a lot of us get limited, and it is what it is. We're all different. We're all out there achieving things, but you definitely push like inspiring people and pushing people past the limit of what they believe is like hard and or
Hmm.
difficult to do. And I've seen it in some of your posts. And you also talk about like flipping the switch.
Hmm.
And yeah, I see it in all of your content. So kind of explain that as well through what that means to you.
Yeah, with flipping the switch, like how I came up with that is kind of, I believe everyone has a dream life. Everybody has like this character that they want to live, right? But oftentimes it's difficult, right? You get pulled different ways, or your friends are pulling you one way, your family's pulling you one way. But like you have to live your life every day, and it's you that like you got to decide like what's your passion, what do you want to do. So that's kind of where flip the switch came from, and I tried to pick something that wasn't just running. Because I know not everyone wants to go run around countries or run these crazy distances. Like, I believe everyone should run or bike or swim or do something because it's good for your body, some sort of physical exercise. But really, like the flip the switch mindset and everything I do, like I just want people to see me and be like, man, that guy's chasing his passions. He's chasing as hard as he possibly can. And then whatever their passion is, it could inspire them to go do the same, even if it's not running. So like I didn't want to have something that was super strict on like go run, go run, go run. I just wanted to be flip the switch and really just live your dream life.
Yeah, I love that. And it's awesome that it is not specific to running because I feel like a lot of us as, we're deep in the world of ultra running or running in general and then all we see is running, 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 running. So it's also
Mm-hmm.
nice to hit people that are just, maybe an avid work or strength trainer or, a swimmer, a triathlete athlete. So it's nice to just have that like motto for that. And it, talking to you, it sounds like you are like driven, hardworking. It's been consistent and has always been like that. But is that true? Was there ever a point in your life where maybe you weren't as determined and focused as you are now, and that like what made that switch?
Yeah, 100%. There was a point, and like I said, I only started running, I guess, like 3.5 years ago. And I remember being a kid, like I was always super competitive, and I got to thank my dad, right? He always told me just the most important thing is to just try your best. Like it doesn't matter, you can win, you can lose, but just go give your best effort. But I know, like, say my early 20s or whatever, got out of high school, like I worked a construction job for I don't know, probably 6 or 7 years. And it wasn't something I was like passionate about. I didn't really like it. I just kind of didn't have purpose or I didn't have something to like chase. And I know like I played team sports and stuff when I was a kid, like hockey. But once that's over, you're kind of trying to find something that you can give 100% effort in. And it's kind of difficult. Like I tried to, there's different things and I couldn't find it. Like I'd go to the gym or I'd play like non-competitive sports, but it just wasn't for me. And I remember like I was 25 years old and I just remember thinking like, okay, I'm not really happy where I'm at. I don't want to like this isn't the job for me. This isn't the life for me. There's something more. So I just kind of started searching and I ended up finding running and being like, man, this is amazing. I remember like I started doing ultras, like kind of complete cowboy style. Like I did my first marathon, 50, 60K. Like I kept going up and up and I didn't know anything about fueling. I was like drinking energy drinks and eating Sour Patch Kids. But I found this thing where like no matter like how much I put in, the results would be there, right? So I keep going farther and farther and farther. And every time you'd finish, you'd be like, man, I technically could have kept going and I was just like completely obsessed with running and I just remember like I told everybody like this is my purpose to motivate and inspire people. I'm going to chase my passions. Any job I work is going to be temporary. Like I told everyone I want to have 1 million followers one day. I want to inspire people and like the whole point of it is to just get people to like help people change their lives and you even see it in doing this. You get messages that you're motivating and inspiring people. So I just went like completely all into it. But yeah, there was definitely a time where I was lost and I was thinking, man, what am I going to do? And to anyone that's watching this and like is in that position, just try stuff. And luckily, I didn't have to try that much. Like I started running and I kind of found it really fast. But yeah, if you don't know what you want to do, just try a bunch of stuff until you find something that kind of ignites a fire in you and then chase that as hard as you can.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And it's so true. I feel like a lot of us, especially around that age of like 20 to 25, where you're growing up and you don't know what you want and you're working a job that say you don't really love and then there's always that like burning desire to have a passion and a lot of us don't find it, which is horrible and it really really stinks. But at the same time, I feel like there's a certain amount of people that just go looking for it and that's trying multiple different things. It could be,
Hmm.
running, biking, swimming. It could be the love for writing or, anything. There's so many things out there that people could do and then once you find that and it is that actual passion to go after and then go all in, which is what you've done and you are doing, which is super, super cool. So, what was your first actual big race? You mentioned, I believe it was the Canada.
Well, I guess that's kind of when like my social media following and stuff took off. A lot of my stuff, like I still don't really have that much like race experience. Where a lot of
Mhm.
my runs have just been like charity runs and stuff. So like I remember my first 100K, and we still do this to this day. I called it the Ho Ho 100K. So it was around Christmas. I dressed up like Santa Claus, and there's like I think it's like 1.4 kilometers. Like it's a loop that's not very big downtown Halifax, and I'd run around there so people could come see me and make donations and stuff. So we've done that 3 years now. Like I did 100K, then 200, then 250. So we keep pushing it farther and farther and farther with the distance. But yeah, I just did a bunch of charity stuff like that. Where my first probably I don't know, 800 milers were just me doing something, raising money for some awesome cause, or even sometimes not raising money, just going and doing it on the weekend. But yeah, I guess Canada would have been my first like really, really big challenge where like I ran across Canada. It was 7,300 some kilometers. I did that in 98 days. So it was 75 kilometers a day. Once again, I don't really know what that is in miles. I think it'd be a little under 50, I think, per day.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Cause yeah,
So that
crazy.
would have been my first big one, and then from there, like I've done some races, and I ran like the entire length of Florida and now Iceland. So yeah, I'm really just getting started, and even
Mhm.
with the race stuff, like I can't wait to get into some bigger races and do some bigger things. But and even people ask sometimes, like, or I tell people the best way for me, like on the social media aspect of it, of trying to get to a point where I can actually do it as a career. Sometimes when you go to a race, it's hard because you can't really get that much footage. But like when I did
Mhm.
Canada, I had a video guy with me and we were able to film like completely everything we did, right? So it was almost easier for social media purpose too to like actually get out there to a bigger audience so you can inspire people, right? So and even Iceland, like we did a documentary for this. So it's kind of a great way that I've found to be able to do something huge, do something crazy, do something big, and then also document like the entire thing.
Oh yeah, no, that's so cool. And I love FKTs and like just doing kind of like your own thing. So the charity runs that you've done, that's incredible. I have to ask, is there a specific like pull that made you do running for charity?
Well, when I did Canada, I did the Heart and Stroke Foundation, and kind of everyone in my family has heart disease. So, like my
Mhm.
dad, my grandparents, brother, sister, like a lot of people are affected with heart disease. So that's why I raised money for heart and stroke, and it was cool because like my dad was driving the van. He drove the van the whole time for 98 days. So I'm seeing him. He's got heart disease, and like I know he wishes he could run the way I do or go harder, and he still does his runs and stuff, but it's not the same, right? He's a little bit limited in what he can do. So to see that was, yeah, that was a huge motivation for me. And then another person that's a major motivation. Do you know Terry Fox? Have you heard of Terry Fox?
I do now. I
Uh,
have heard of Terry Fox. So go ahead. We'll dive into him in
yeah,
a bit too.
yeah. So like he's a huge motivator to me, and I remember kind of the idea to run across Canada came from I went down to the States to do my first 50 miler. This was like 3 months into my running journey. I did the JFK 50 miler in Maryland. And I wore a Terry Fox shirt. And I was shocked. It was kind of I found anyone that was say 50 and older was knew who he was. Oh man, Terry Fox, awesome. But then anyone my age had no idea. So
Mhm.
my whole kind of like another one of my goals for Canada was to raise awareness. So I wore his shirt pretty much every day and just tried to talk about how I believe he's the greatest Canadian of all time for what he did.
Yeah, so let's get into Terry Fox. What did he do for people listening that have no clue?
Yeah, so he was diagnosed unfortunately with cancer, and he had to have his leg amputated. And this was back in the 80s, right? So before they really had like a running leg or anything. So he had this crazy idea to run across Canada and try to raise money for the Canadian Cancer Society. And so he pretty well, against all odds, took off to attempt this run. And He ended up making it a little over halfway, and unfortunately, the cancer came back and ended up taking his life. It was super tragic, but like what he did, he was in his early 20s, so he's such a young kid to be able to go out and do that. And I can only imagine like the pain he was in of having the walking leg, and he's trying to run. So I can imagine like his stump was bleeding, and his other hip was probably taking all the load, right? So for him to be so young, and then even like he's running and cancer comes back in his lungs, so he didn't know, but I'm sure he probably had cancer the whole time he's doing it. He was coughing up blood. Anyway, so in Canada he's like a hero,
Mm.
and everybody knows him. We do the runs at the school, and I think the Terry Fox Foundation has raised close to like $1 billion, but a lot of places in the world they don't know him. So I just thought, man, like I got to get that story out there, because like I think he's a good example of it doesn't really matter how long you live, but if you live your life like completely full passion, true to your heart, like and you can really make a huge impact. And you got to think of all the people he's inspired and the money they raised. And even for example, like I probably never would have ran across Canada if it wasn't for him. So and that's such a long time ago he did it. So yeah, just if anyone doesn't know Terry Fox, look up a documentary or something of him, or look him up, because man, it is some impressive what he was able to do.
Yeah, it really is. So after, looking up you, I saw something about Terry Fox. You had posted it. So I had genuinely no clue who he was. So I did some searching, found some videos, and I was super impressed by you had mentioned like this was back in the 80s and his
Yeah.
prosthetic was not like a running prosthetic. It was something
Oh,
it
yeah.
looked like they kind of threw together and tried to make it
Mhm.
work, which just shows even more of like how passionate he was about this because he didn't have the setup. He went out there and just did what he could with what he had.
And the crazy thing is too, like it was before social media or anything. So like when someone goes and sets out to do something big now, if your story is cool enough for people, you know what I mean, everyone will kind of get behind it, and you know that there's an audience and people will donate and buzz will be spread. But like back then, if the news didn't pick up on it, it's like no one would even knew what he was doing. So like the courage to go do that with like no guarantee of success, like just chasing a dream to try to raise money for cancer so that other people one day aren't affected like him, like that is just so selfless for him to do that. And yeah, and then I tell people too, it's like if he was 40 years old it would have been the most impressive thing ever. He was like 20, 21 years old. You got to think like I don't know what I was doing when I was 20, 21, but I wasn't like to be that selfless at that young of an age. It's man, it just blows my mind every time I think about it. And it's even during these runs, like if there's a moment where I'm down and out and I you know what I mean, all the odds are stacked against me, I just think about what he went through, and really I have no position to complain ever. If you think about that, you're like, man, but what am I complaining about? I got two good legs, I'm healthy, you know what I mean? So yeah, it puts it in perspective, and it allows me to just never feel sorry for myself or complain.
No, I love that. And it's true. You said that like to the T. When I was 21, I sure as hell wasn't doing anything like that. I I couldn't
I
even
was I
imagine.
was drinking beer, like screwing around. Like, I don't know what I was doing. Nothing
No,
impressive.
nothing impressive. No, I'm right there with you, and it's so amazing to see that. And I highly encourage people to go look up Terry Fox and do a little research.
Mhm.
Super impressive. But I love that that got you to run across Canada and raise awareness in that aspect. And that was like your first big feat, right? Is
Yeah, it'd be
with your dad?
my first.
Yeah,
Like I'd done 100 milers
yeah,
and some big distance and stuff, but yeah, it was my first like huge multi-day. Like, even when I did it, it was like I probably wasn't ready to do it. I just went and did it. You know what I mean? Like, probably physically, it was like mentally, it really wasn't that difficult. Like I'm pretty good at this stuff, but physically, it was very hard. My
yeah.
body was like, what are you doing to yourself here?"
You said you wanted to go all in, and you really did with that.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
one hundred
cool.
percent.
And you'd mentioned it was with your dad. So did you have people come out and run with you at that time, or was it a lot of solo miles?
Yeah, it was crazy. So when I started, I probably had maybe like say 10,000 Instagram followers that I'd built over like a year and a half of just or a year of just promoting my running and doing some big runs, but I didn't really have much of a following. And yeah, like it was I quit my job, I took out a line of credit, I bought a van all within like a month and was like, "All right, dad, let's go." And we took off, and at the beginning kind of no one really had any idea what we were doing, but as it went on, like it just exploded. And it was even in like the first week, I think I went from I think I gained 40,000 followers in like a week. there's a couple videos that blew up, and then kind of the whole country of Canada was like freaking out. So everywhere I went, I had people running with me. In big cities, I'd do my last 5K as a group run, and like for instance, my hometown, like we had like 400 people come out. I went to Toronto, and there was like close to 1,000 people. So it was crazy how like it just exploded so much and everyone got behind it. And yeah, it was, I don't know, it was pretty easy to keep going when like every single day people were coming and running with you and people were cheering at me on the highway. And yeah, like it's pretty wild. All of it's on my YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. Like we have videos of the group runs and stuff. It's Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then just the messages of support, and we raised like close to $300,000 for the Heart and Stroke Foundation. So it was like the craziest experience of being like, what is going on? Like, I was running, so I was doing something so crazy. So it was almost like I couldn't totally take in what was happening until like we were done. And I was like, man, we raised how much money? And it's like, I get like, it was crazy. So many moments of just being like exhausted, but like having all the energy in the world at the same time. It was
Mm.
crazy.
Yeah, and that's like if you want to talk about something being super inspiring and encouraging, like to the T, man, that is it. That's incredible. And you're continuing to do crazy things that are encouraging, inspiring people, which is super, super cool. And it's hard to be in a situation where, like you said, you really didn't have much of a following. You were super passionate. You wanted to go out there and encourage and inspire people. And by the end of that, like you 100% were doing that and are doing that still, which is super cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't know, and it's even like the thing of me talking about like chasing your dreams or chasing your passions, and it's like from an outsider perspective, people just probably thought I was nuts. Like, what do you mean you're gonna like? I was telling people I'm gonna have 1 million followers one day, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna like run across Canada and all these like these crazy goals, and people are like, like, huh? You just started running. But man, I just knew and I believed in myself, and luckily I had a good support system that like my dad believed in me, a lot of like you know what I mean, a lot of my friends believed in me, and yeah, it's just with that self belief, I turned it into something, and I believe like if you don't quit ever, you can't lose. So I
Yeah.
was even saying like if I did Canada the first time and no one even noticed, and I gained 4 followers and we raised $1,000, well, that's a pretty cool story. I ran across the country and it didn't work, and then maybe when I do it again and it works, it's you know what I mean. It all adds to the story. So yeah, it's I don't know, just over a long enough period of time, you can't keep someone down that it was constantly just trying to, make a better life for them and then also pushing a positive message. I believe the positive message will always work, right? It's even
Yeah.
like the law of attraction. Like I'm pushing so much positivity that I'm sure it eventually will work.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. It's the law of attraction is huge, and I feel like a lot of people may think it's like, hoopy, whatever, and be against it, but it really is super powerful. You just have to have the right mindset to think that. You know what I mean? And be in that
Yeah.
situation where you're gonna use it for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons.
I think a lot of people get a misconception of it too, of like if you just sit there all day and think and talk, it's not going to work, right? The only way it works is when you talk about it, you think about it, you visualize it, but then you also put all that work in. So it's those two things coming together. And yeah, you can't just sit there. If I was to sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to run across Canada and do no training, I would have made it like half a day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's the combination that just makes it unstoppable.
For sure. And it's the taking the law of attraction and also knowing that like actions speak louder than words and you have to
Oh yeah,
do the things and actually, continue to say the things that make it matter for sure. Which
yeah, it's a combo.
yes, definitely. And you did. So which is awesome. But let's kind of like go back to this run around or across or around Iceland.
I
You
always, when
mentioned
I was doing it, I wanted to say I'm running across ice, but
yeah.
it's like that. There's a different route for that. So because I was so used to Canada, so I had to get used to saying around or I'm circumnavigating Iceland. And there's different words and stuff,
Yeah,
but yeah,
a
that
lot
was
of
a change.
races are across. That's why when like I was
Yeah.
trying to say, I'm like, no, it's not across, it's around.
Even
uh,
when I did Florida, like I always wanted to say like I'm running across Florida, but I'm like, no, I'm running the entire length. So
yeah,
I don't know.
a little different, but same in a sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Around Iceland, you mentioned you had a crew. So did you have multiple people come out there and support you, or was it, just one group of people? How did that work?
Yeah, so there was we had a couple film we had the two film guys doing the documentary, and then we started with a crew of three, and then halfway through, a couple of them went home. My dad was actually able to come out and support for the last week, and he was there when I finished. And then one of my good friends came for the last. I think he was there the last 2 days. He kind of surprised us. He was like, "Should I book the flight?" And then he just showed up. So yeah, we had a good crew with us the whole time. And really, it's like without them, I wouldn't have been able to. There's no shot I would have been able to do this, right? Like so like it's huge to have people that believe in me and are willing to come and do this. So like that's what I'm talking about too. But the support system of like to have people that believe in you and to come kind of put their life on pause for a week or 2 weeks to go to Iceland to basically look after me like I'm a child. Like all my meals, they were pretty well spoon feeding me, and they'd have my clothes and everything. So yeah, it's like that's huge to have those people that believe in me and are there. So the crew meant everything, and they were great.
Yeah, definitely can't do big efforts without crew. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can sometimes, but it's always easier and
Yes.
usually more efficient with a crew, which is awesome. When you went out there, got the record, which is amazing. What was probably like that one point where things got really hard for you, and you were like, "Shit, this is when like things get real."
Well, I'll be honest on this one. Like, say Canada, Florida, all these other ones I did, there was always like a lot of joy in it, and there was a lot of happy moments. This one was it was different. Where in no way am I complaining because I want every aspect. Like, I want all the highs, I want all the lows, I want everything in between, every life experience. And when it's really hard, it makes you better. So this one definitely made me a lot better. But pretty well anything past day two was just like misery. It was our first few days. Like the way I did it, we front loaded a lot of the elevation. And on top of front loading the elevation, there was a couple of like really bad days. And I think they were even like Iceland bad. Like I know it's windy there, but like the first few days, it was crazy headwinds and rain. So I was like pretty beat up after like day two. And then everything after that was just like, man, it was difficult. It was like I don't know, the hardest thing I've ever done times 10. Like there was moments where I felt like my insides were going to fall out or like I was just in so much pain. And yeah, we just I don't know, I just managed to keep moving forward, but it was it was like it was harder than I thought it was going to be for sure. And yeah, we just moved forward like a zombie or something to get it done. But yeah, it was very very hard.
Very cool. Well, not very cool, but
Oh, it is very cool. And even like man, like I was having some issues, and just with the slope on the road, like my left ankle and foot, I was having a lot of issues, and then my hip was bad, and yeah, it was I don't know, it was challenging, but it also shows like man, I just kept going like for the
mm,
last 10 whatever days, like I was pretty destroyed, but I just kept moving and kept moving. And even at the end, it's like when I did Canada, say my last day, like I was running kind of quick at the end for this, like 3 kilometers from the finish. I was like sitting at a bus stop, like hunched over. My crew was like, "You good?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll be good."
oh
Yeah,
gosh,
so, oh
it
man, it's hard.
it's like that one race or event or distance that you need to like really smack you into reality to know that like everything's not always super easy or
Mhm.
super nice. Not saying anything was ever that way, but
Yeah.
this is what truly makes you better, and
Oh man.
pushes you and gets you outside of that comfort zone.
Because I was even I don't know if it was had to do with maybe I was had a cold or the flu or something, or it might have been something to do with the sulfur in the air because like from the volcanoes and stuff. I was like coughing up like green stuff. It was just blowing my. It was really gross. So I had a hard time breathing the whole time too, which was nuts. And then it felt like I was in a washing machine just with the weather. Like you're getting blown in every direction and the wind and the yeah. So it was a combination of a bunch of stuff that made it pretty gnarly, but. Yeah, it was. I was coughing and coughing and coughing, and yeah, it was nuts.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. And obviously, this time of year it's pretty chilly there, right?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty cold. Like it wasn't terrible or anything. Um, at the beginning, it was pretty wet. It was raining a lot. There was hail and stuff, and then but near the end, the weather actually wasn't too terrible. Like where some sun came out, but there's a wind more than anything. It was
Mm.
just so much wind there. But yeah, like it wasn't snowing or anything there, but it was cold. It was definitely cold.
Yeah, which is nice, but at the same time, the wind is horrible. Running against
Ugh.
wind, you mentioned like the washing machine having that slap you around the whole time. not to mention being on the side of the road, which, yeah, doesn't sound like fun. But you knocked it out, and that's incredible. What would you say was the biggest like takeaway from this experience?
Biggest takeaway. Well, I guess I kind of already knew like the power of the mind and the ability to keep going. I don't know. Like biggest takeaway, I guess is I'm almost at a point now where I would say my mental is quite a bit above my physical.
Mm.
And in doing this, it wasn't scary, I guess wouldn't be the right word, but like when I was doing it and I'm on day whatever and I feel horrible and I keep going and going and going, I'm like, man, it's almost it was almost like I was like a horse or something where I would just go till I die. So that's I don't know. I remember thinking that, and then it kind of makes me think of like, okay, what's next, and what's the next challenge, and yeah, it puts it into perspective of like, I don't know, almost I should pick and choose what I do next or my next moves because I would say doing something like Iceland, like it's not like healthy and it's not like good for you. And it's like, man, how many times can you really go into this and give that much of yourself? So yeah, maybe it made me realize like I should pick and choose what's next and you know, plan things out a little better. And you can't always just cowboy style everything and wing it. Well, I guess you can, but yeah, it's I don't know, like this whole game I play with the running and the social media and everything. It's so interesting. Of makes me think like, what's next? Okay, how can we maximize it on eyeballs so that we can inspire people? And so many different things. So I'm going to take the next few months to kind of just like refocus. The first time in a few years where I'm not constantly pushing and kind of just find my joy for running again. And you know, the next crazy idea I'm sure will come to me, but yeah, there's stages in all of this, and you know, like you kind of evolve and you even tweak little things in your training. So yeah, I'm at a point now where I'm probably going to get a little more serious with like strength training and different aspects to it, and even like my diet and kind of just refine things, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. Do you have any desire or potential thoughts of doing actual races? Not trying to say like actual, like the things that you have done are not worthy, because they definitely are, but like a sanctioned race against other
Oh yeah.
people.
No, I'd love to, like 100%. And it's even if I had unlimited money, I think I'd do races every weekend, right? But it sometimes it's a cost of when I was like, okay, I could do a few races or I could do Iceland. You know, I ended up picking Iceland, but yeah, I want to do all of them. I want to do all the big ultras and stuff, and I'd love to go to the States or Europe or all over Canada. And yeah, like within the next 5, 10 years, I'd like to have done all the big ones and the 200 milers and the like. I really, there's no challenge I'll say no to. So yeah, I'd love to go, you know, do those races and put myself up against other people. And yeah, I can't wait. It's exciting, really.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Is there a race that comes to mind that you definitely want to do within the next few years?
I mean, you hear like Moab or like ones like that. Like that would be pretty cool if I could do like a Moab or like a Leadville or I don't know, one of those ones that is super famous, right? I'd love to go do all of those. Like a and something 200 mile plus would be cool. The farthest, like I haven't actually done a 200 miler. I've done 150 some. I did 250K, which I think is like 156 miles.
Okay, yep.
But yeah, I'd love to push that distance and see like I've done like the multiple day stuff where like the 98 days or the 14 days. But yeah, I think I'd like to do something in one big push, like start hitting some of those 200 plus milers, and I think I'd like to do them within the next few years.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And we kind of touched base a little bit on this, and we'll circle back now. You ran the length of Florida, and
Yeah.
you did this very like I don't know if you winged this as well. You may have, but you did this completely solo with just like a
Yeah.
backpack, right?
Oh yeah, and it wasn't even like a running backpack. I don't know. I had people making fun of me, and like I said, like I just wing things, right? And that's even where I'm at the point now of like, okay, maybe I shouldn't just wing everything. There's a time and a place for it, but yeah, I just went with like basically like a high school book bag, you know what I mean? Like just a random book bag. I had some clothes in it, and I was stopping at gas stations and like eating gas station hot dogs and
Oh my
do
goodness.
whatever I possibly could. And like I'd look up motels or a few nights I just stayed with random people from Instagram and stuff, right? So yeah, I had like well, not no plan. Like I had a general idea of what I'd be doing with that, and yeah, it ended up being I think it was like 750 kilometers, which I did in like 10 days, and Yeah, it was a fun time, but yeah, there wasn't much planning. It was like I had a route that I made on Strava, and I started in Georgia and ran all the way down to the Keys,
Oh my
to the
goodness.
start of the Keys, and yeah, I don't know, I'd do it again. It was fun.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And we kind of briefly talked about this before we got on the podcast, but you like Florida, you like the area. But
Yeah,
what
I like
made
it.
you come out to Florida? Is it because you like the area?
I'd always liked the area. I'd always kind of went there for vacation or to escape winter and stuff. And also, I kind of picked the area because I just wanted the challenge of doing something by myself. Like,
Mhm.
I had done Canada, and obviously I had the crew with me the whole time, but I wanted the challenge of like looking after myself for everything. So I was, you know what I mean? I was figuring out what I was going to eat. I was figuring out the hotels I was going to stay at, the motels. Like, so it was kind of all on me. So that's why I did that challenge. And, I also just wanted to show people on social media that sometimes it doesn't have to be fancy.
Mm.
Like, I just took whatever my bag was and I just moved forward and we had fun with it. And you know what I mean? There wasn't really any crazy time goal. I just, pretty well ran from sun up to sundown. And yeah, it was a really, really cool experience. But yeah, I like Florida. Like, winters are harsh in Canada. So I might spend some time in Florida again this winter just to kind of escape the cold, right?
Yeah, for sure. You got to plan another race when you come out here, or an FKT or
Yes.
something of that nature.
Yes, yes.
Very
Yeah, I'll
cool.
have to come. I'll have to figure out. I'll have to do something. Yeah, a marathon or an ultra marathon or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And so cool. It just to do this with no real intention other than like to go out there and I assume, test yourself and see how you can handle being completely solo and just going out there and taking care of business. You've done this kind of multiple times in the sense of like winging things and just knocking out things that are unbelievable. Is that kind of how they approach you? Is like you're just looking for something, this sounds really weird and or hard to do, I'm going to go do it?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Canada was like obviously inspired by Terry
Yep.
Fox, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Florida was just like I was down there on vacation, um, for like a couple weeks, and I'm driving around, and I'm like, wonder if I could just like run the entire state. So then I just ended up doing it. So yeah, it's kind of yeah, just things have just kind of came to me randomly, and I do them. So and even in saying like I want to get more refined and maybe more prepared for things, I think there always will be a side of me that does something that's kind of just winging it. So
Hmm.
there's kind of two sides. Maybe like half my things can be super planned, and then sporadically I'll just let's go do this.
Yeah. Hey,
So I
there's
like I like that aspect. I don't want to get rid of it, but just maybe say if I do like two big challenges a year, one could just be like pick a place and go run, and then the other one could be more strategic or yeah, kind of more planned out.
Oh, for sure. And there's nothing wrong with winging it. I think it's awesome. I think it's very impressive that you do so well and you just handle your shit and do it. I love that. That's awesome. And I think doing it split up how you mentioned, like having it, something planned and planning for it, and then just going out there and doing your own thing and just winging it is also a great idea. You could have like an on season where you're like specific and then just go out and do your own thing.
Yeah, well, in the winging, it's taught me so many things of like problem when you do this stuff, problems will always come up. Like there's always going to be issues. There's always going to be unforeseen things that happen, and it's like it depends on how you go with it. So like it's put me in a mindset of like anything could happen, but like what's the goal?
Mm.
Like it doesn't like you get 24 hours in a day. It's even like when I was in Iceland, like and I'm feeling horrible, and maybe my pace wasn't what I wanted to be. I'm like, okay, what do I need to run? Okay, we're going to run 90 kilometers. Okay, what's the pace? Okay, like we could go super slow. So it just lets you focus on like you got the goal and that's it. And you're going to just problem solve off of that. And a lot of this ultra running stuff is just problem solving of like, okay, well, I'm going to finish. So how are we going to get there?
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned it throughout like this whole thing. You've literally problem solved in almost all of your things because, things happen and it's
Yeah.
what happens when you're in different situations. If you're out doing a event where you only have your crew van and you're on the side of the road running, and then there's horrible headwind. You can't control that. You could potentially plan for it, but it's not. You're not going to know exactly when it's going to happen and for how
Mhm.
long. So you have to compromise and do the things that you have to do. And I mean, in races, we experience that no matter what. It could be,
Mhm.
even a 5K, the odds of something being super detrimental very slim to none, but
What happened though?
something could definitely happen. You know what I mean? It could be pouring raining the day you wake up and you're supposed to do a
Yep.
5K, and then you have to run in the rain. So things like that happen. And I love that, like, you've probably put made it a little worse on yourself by just the way you approach things, but you're
Yeah.
doing it and you're still proving to people like, "Hey, I'm just doing this and freaking doing amazing things." So that's super, super cool.
Well, it's even like I remember doing Canada and like on my where we got the van or whatever, and then like on my birthday, the van breaks down, and for like 4 or 5 hours, I'm running out on my own. But it's like, see, I could have freaked out. Oh my god, the van broke down, but like I don't know. I just kept moving forward, and then eventually the van got fixed. Someone came and luckily fixed it for free. They just were liked what we were doing, and they came and fixed it, and then they gave us money for cheeseburgers. So when the night was done, I got an ice cream cake from Dairy Queen and some cheeseburgers.
Love it.
So it's like that was I didn't freak out. I just moved forward. And even during this, it's like you don't want to panic or you don't want to like the one thing I always try to do is just stay calm. I don't try to freak out. Like I ended up making it across Canada without like losing it, punching the van or like screaming at my crew. Like I usually just try to keep pretty zen, move forward. Like there's not going to be wasted energy. So yeah, it just teaches you so many life lessons. And then too, like it's if all this stuff goes wrong or something goes bad, like when you go through all of that and then you go back to regular life, nothing really phases you. Like I've been like I've ran 16 hours in terrible headwinds and my foot's felt like it was going to fall off and I mean, the van broke down like random stuff happens but like yeah, like what's a bad day now? Like there really isn't one when you've been through so much.
Oh, yeah, and I love how you had said, like, it you can't freak out when things go bad. It only makes things 10 times worse than what they actually are. And sometimes, like you'd mentioned with the guy coming to fix your vehicle and then getting money and getting to have a, awesome dinner, like if you would have freaked out, who knows if that would have happened. And
Yeah.
then to come to have someone come and help you and then you probably didn't need to freak out because things got fixed and you didn't even have to stress. It just shows that like sometimes things are going to happen in life and you can't
Hmm.
freak out or you
Yeah.
shouldn't at least.
Well, and it's a learned skill too. Like I remember when I first started running, like I was used to playing hockey or something, right? Where everything's like intense and like you get on for 45 seconds, you go as hard as you can. But through doing this, it's almost like you get so much patience. Running across the country is so boring. Like you know what I mean? Like say you're running for 16 hours a day, it's like, "Oh my God, there's only so much music you can listen to and podcasts you can listen to." So, yeah, you get a lot of patience and I don't know, if you're going around a 5K or something, you can probably run angry and do great, but if I was to try to run on like emotion or be pissed off or I don't know, whatever, right? Like you're gonna get like halfway through day one and be like burnt out.
Mm. Oh
And you're
yeah.
gonna run too fast. Your heart rate's gonna be elevated. So yeah, you learn how to just be like, just chill. Just chill, move forward. Nothing matters. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep your emotions in check. So it's a great skill for life, really.
For sure. Yeah. The only thing that matters in that moment is putting one step or one foot in
Yeah.
front of the other, continuing to take each step.
Well, it's such an easy mindset of like, can I take another step? Yep. Okay, take it.
Yeah.
And it's like the answer is pretty well always yes. Like uh, just move forward, move forward, move forward, and eventually you're done. And with this, the whole time, that was kind of like, take a step, take another step, and then I'm like, eventually I was done.
Yeah.
And now we're like a week and a half out from it, and it's like this is it's just interesting. Like it felt like it was taking forever, and now it's done, and now we're talking about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And speaking of it being done, how are you feeling post the event? How's the body recovering and how's the mind feeling?
So we're like I think 10 days out from
Mhm.
like something like that. The first week was hard, like not really hard mentally. Like I was very proud of what I did, and I was very you know what I mean, like very happy, and I'm always can see the positive for it, and everyone I inspired, and I'm always kind of thinking, okay, what's next? What can we do? So I'm always I love living. I love I love doing these things, but my body was like wrecked. It was probably 3 days in bed, just like jackhammer shaking and like not being able to sleep and pain in my hips and my knees and yeah. So that was almost a new one. I had never really experienced it that bad before. Obviously, after Canada, it's hard, and after some big runs, it's hard. But this one was like I'm laying in bed, my heart rate's like 100, and I'm like, oh my
Mm.
god. All I wanted to do was eat, and then like I was shaking all the time because about the only time I didn't hurt was when I was in moving. So I'd just be sitting there like shaking. So yeah, it's like the body kept score, and you know what I mean. It made me pay for a week, but I've went out for a few little small runs now just to get the body moving, and I can kind of feel like I'm turning a bit of a corner now. So
Good.
I think I think the benefits of Iceland are going to be huge, right? Like you almost don't notice it for say a few months after, but yeah, I'm starting to feel decent again. But
That's
the
great, man.
week after was not like
Yeah.
it was horrible.
I can only imagine. Yeah, you definitely, pushed it not only because this is a huge achievement, but you'd mentioned early on the body was already like, I don't know about this, and then you kept
Mhm.
going. So I'm sure your body's like, well, this is
Yeah.
payback, and
One of the funniest, like my dad came out for the last week, and one of my crew guys, Brad, he was rolling me out. So we had a rolling pin, and he'd like get right into my legs. Like there's videos of my dad, and he's like, "Oh," and I'm just sitting there like, like screaming pretty well. But it's funny to see like his perspective of like, oh my god, what's my kid doing?
oh
And
yeah,
like he's like, are you sure this is helping you? And I'm, yeah, it's helping. Like it's about the only thing that kept me going. But yeah, it's just interesting to see other people's perspectives of like, what is going on here? Why do they have a rolling pin? Like, are we making pizza? Like,
yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah, that's the like all type of, well, not all, but I should say some type of recovery hurts so good,
Hmm.
and when being on the outside looking in, you're like, there's no way that's helping, but it does,
Yeah.
I promise.
Oh yeah, multiple times he's like, "Are you sure you should be doing that? Is it making it worse?" And then I'd go out and I'd run faster because we like
Yeah.
I'd feel better, and then it'd be like we'd be doing it multiple times a day, and then by the end he's like, "All right, just whatever if it works for you."
Yeah, yeah, that's so cool. And again, you've encouraged and inspired so many people already, and in a reality, you're just getting started, and I can't wait to see like what you get into. But what is like one thing you think you would love to share with the world, knowing that like you are just one person out here doing your best, trying to encourage and inspire people?
Yeah, well, it's the same message I always give: just chase your dreams. Like, and it sounds cliche or everyone says it, right? But like what is your dream? What do you want to do? How you going to do that? Make a roadmap, make the steps. Like you got to live your life. Your friends don't live it for you, your parents don't live it for you, your coworkers don't live it for you. Like you got to wake up every morning and you got to be you. Like you got to experience this. So time goes by quick, right? Life's short, and like just go out and chase your passions, and it makes the world such a better place. Of like the best way to motivate and inspire someone is to chase your passions as hard as you possibly can, and other people will see it and they'll do the same. So it's like it's selfish and selfless at the same time. Like you're selfishly chasing what you want to do at all costs, and then you're being selfless in inspiring everybody. And that's the cool part of social media too, is like, say I was to just go do this run, it would have made me better, but if I didn't showcase it to anyone else, right? Like, sure, I would have became a tougher person. I would have had built my mindset and stuff, but like, it would be a disservice to other people if I didn't showcase it, because I know that I'm doing something that's very hard. I'm doing something that is impressive. So other people, if I can share it to them, man, it's you have to, and I that's why I'm so passionate about it. Of really just trying to showcase everything I do, because like same with me of like Terry Fox, or I remember I like read David Goggins' book, and that was one of the big things that got me into running. So like I can be a figure like that to someone else, where like maybe I see David Goggins go run a 200 miler, and I'm like, I didn't want to run that day, and I get up and I go run 20K or whatever, right? So yeah, just chase your dreams, man. That's the only message I try to give to people, is just build your dream life.
Very cool, very cool. And don't forget to share it, because whether you believe it or not, you definitely will inspire and encourage someone. Like I experience chatting with like older people, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to be like that social media person because, I'm old." I'm like, "No, like there are older people looking for older people. Do the thing and,
Yes.
show the world, because there's always someone that you can inspire."
Oh, 100%. Social media is terrible and amazing at the same time. It just depends on what you use it for and who you follow, and the message you see, I guess.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And again, thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing this amazing story. I will have all your like links and everywhere where people can follow you in my show notes. That way
Oh,
they
amazing.
can come out and follow along, and just truly cannot wait to continue to watch you
Mhm.
go out there and crush these amazing, crazy ass feats of yours.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And like, it's huge for me because I know I have about 95,000 followers on Instagram, but they're basically all in Canada. I think it's like 90% Canada. So I'm trying to grow to Europe and to the States. And Yeah, so it's huge for me to come on here and hopefully get some new eyeballs and also teach some people about Terry Fox.
Yes.
That's massive. But yeah, like I'd love to try to get more of a following in different places so I can so when I come to Florida next time, I can meet some people who follow me and we can go for runs and we can have fun and I can come do races and yeah, it'll be awesome. Meet a new community of people everywhere I go.
Oh yeah, and you definitely will for sure. And if you're in Florida in January, I am racing a race. If you are looking to pace, I we will definitely chat and maybe come out and pace.
What race is it?
It's a long haul. Have you ever heard of it?
No, how far is
Uh,
it?
It's 100 miles.
Oh,
So
okay.
actually, if there's spots open, you can run it too.
Oh man. And it's
We'll
in
talk. We'll
January?
talk about this off the show.
Yeah, we'll talk about it
All
off
right,
it.
cool, cool.
Yeah, if
Thank
I'm
you
there,
again
I'll
so much.
definitely would either come pace or run. That would yeah, it'd be fun.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Well, thank you again for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.